At the time, Cassie didn't recognize Ross Wilkes, Ian Burfield. She got drunk with him and enjoyed his company, using their conversation as a distraction from her relationship woes. When Ross left, Cassie checked his bar tab and realized who she had been speaking to. Even though their interaction was brief, we got a feel for the type of man Ross is due to how badly he spoke to Cassie once she had consumed a fair bit of alcohol. He then rocked up to the bistro a couple of days later, after Hope Stape, Isabella Flanagan, and Ruby Dobbs, Billy Naylor, told Tyrone that they had tracked his biological father down thanks to DNA testing. Away from how badly their chat ended a few days ago, Cassie is struggling to be around Ross because of what he did to her when she was underage. When Cassie was in her early teens, she fell in with the wrong crowd and was made to sleep with people for money. One of those men was Ross, who then made her fall pregnant with Tyrone. Cassie gave birth to her son, but Evelyn Plummer, Maureen Lipman, decided to leave baby Tyrone on the doorstep of a police station. This eventually resulted in Tyrone getting adopted by Jackie and Darren. In scenes that will air soon, Cassie does her best to prove that Ross is bad news by uploading a picture of him to an app where you can post reviews of ex-boyfriends. She tells Steve McDonald, Simon Gregson, that she hopes there will be a deluge of horror stories that she can show to Ty. Steve advises her to delete it, but will Cassie agree? And if Ross gets wind of what she's up to, could Cassie be in danger ahead of Claire Sweeney's exit from the show? Discussing what Tyrone makes of his dad rocking up after all these years, star Alan Halsall said, "At first, Tyrone really tries. He even goes and plays golf with him, despite having a horrendous back injury. He eventually starts to see a father figure there. He's an imposing chap, but quite laid back. Tyrone starts to think, actually, this guy seems all right, and I could go for a beer with my dad. It's a shame he wasn't in his life, and he starts to understand the circumstances of why that was the case. But as Tyrone gets to know this new face, Alan has teased that this dynamic may not last long. He looks at his dad and thinks, I've got a father in my life now, and nothing can go wrong. But we know that's not the case, certainly in Tyrone's life. He knows full well what kind of trouble and lies this guy could bring to his doorstep. The walls of Weatherfield have witnessed countless betrayals, heartbreaks, and shocking crimes over the years, but nothing could prepare residents for the terrifying chain of events that unfolds when Cassie Plummer reaches her breaking point. After weeks of living in fear of the ruthless Ross, Cassie realizes there may be only one way to protect the people she loves, even if it means crossing a line she can never return from. Ross has become the neighborhood's darkest nightmare. Charming on the surface but cruel behind closed doors, his manipulation has left a trail of emotional destruction. Every encounter leaves another victim shaken, and his growing influence threatens to tear families apart. As his behavior becomes increasingly violent, whispers spread across the cobbles that someone must stop him before it's too late. For Cassie, those whispers become impossible to ignore. Already carrying the weight of her own troubled past, Cassie desperately wants a fresh start. She has fought hard to rebuild relationships with her family and prove that she's capable of change. But Ross's relentless intimidation threatens everything she has worked for. Every threat aimed at her loved ones pushes her closer to the edge. The breaking point arrives during a tense confrontation that leaves one member of her family terrified and another seriously injured. Ross walks away without a hint of remorse, convinced nobody will ever stand against him. His confidence only fuels Cassie's determination. Late one evening, Cassie makes a decision that will change her life forever. She quietly follows Ross, determined to confront him away from the crowded streets of Weatherfield. At first, she simply wants him to leave her family alone. She pleads with him to walk away before someone gets hurt. Ross laughs. Instead of backing down, he mocks her, reminding her of every mistake she's ever made. He insists no one would believe a word she says and claims her past has destroyed her credibility forever. Those cruel words ignite something inside Cassie. The confrontation escalates rapidly. Voices are raised. Tempers explode. As Ross advances menacingly, Cassie spots a heavy metal tool lying nearby. Acting on instinct rather than careful planning, she grabs it in a desperate attempt to keep him away. A violent struggle follows. When the chaos ends, Ross is lying motionless on the ground. Cassie freezes in horror. She never intended to kill anyone. She simply wanted to protect herself and her family. But as panic sets in, she realizes the consequences could destroy everything she's fought to rebuild. Back on Coronation Street, Ross's sudden disappearance sparks immediate concern. Some residents believe he's skipped town after making too many enemies. Others fear something far more sinister has happened. The police quickly begin asking difficult questions. Detectives discover Ross argued with several people in the days before he vanished. The list of suspects grows longer by the hour. Nearly everyone had a reason to want him gone. Meanwhile, Cassie struggles under the crushing weight of guilt. She barely sleeps. Every knock at the door sends her heart racing. Every police interview feels like the moment her secret will finally be exposed. Her family notices something is terribly wrong. Initially believing Cassie is simply overwhelmed by recent events, they encourage her to open up. But keeping such a devastating secret proves impossible. The emotional strain begins affecting every conversation, every decision, and every relationship. One family member eventually discovers hidden evidence connecting Cassie to Ross's disappearance. Rather than turning her in immediately, they're left facing an impossible dilemma. Should they protect the woman who risked everything to save them? Or should they allow justice to take its course? As the investigation intensifies, detectives uncover CCTV footage showing Cassie following Ross on the night he vanished. Although the footage doesn't reveal what happened next, it's enough to place her firmly at the center of the investigation. The pressure becomes unbearable. Haunted by nightmares and unable to live with the guilt, Cassie finally considers confessing everything. She knows prison could await her, but she also understands that continuing to lie is destroying the very family she wanted to protect. Just as she prepares to reveal the truth, another shocking twist changes everything. New evidence suggests Ross had been involved in dangerous criminal activity completely unknown to Weatherfield's residents. Hidden enemies from his past begin emerging, each with motives of their own. Suddenly, detectives are forced to reconsider whether Cassie is truly responsible for his fate, or whether someone else finished what she started. The revelation throws the investigation into complete chaos. Cassie finds herself caught between relief and terror. While the spotlight shifts away from her, she knows the truth remains buried inside her conscience. Even if the police never uncover what really happened, she'll have to live with the memory forever. As Weatherfield struggles to recover from another devastating chapter, one question continues haunting everyone involved. Can someone truly be judged as a criminal when every action was driven by love and the desperate need to protect family? For Cassie, the answer may never come. Her choices have forever altered the lives of those closest to her, proving once again that in Coronation Street, the line between hero and villain is often heartbreakingly thin. Whether justice ultimately catches up with Cassie or Ross's darkest secrets change the course of the investigation, one thing is certain: Weatherfield will never forget the night everything changed. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to Coronation Street News 24.